Lord, make us instruments of your peace.
Where there is hatred, let us sow love.
Where there is injury, pardon.
Where there is doubt, faith.
Where there is despair, hope.
Where there is darkness,
light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master,
grant that we may not so much seek
to be consoled as to console,
to be understood as to understand,
to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive,
it is in pardoning that we are pardoned,
and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
WESN.
This is your WESN News on the Hour. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Conservator of Forest warns against setting illegal fires. Venezuelan woman fined for illegal gambling. TNT joins fellow Caribbean nations in Mexico's lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers. And internationally, dry dock accident injures 33. Now for the details. The Conservator of Forests, Denny Dipchansing, warns that there have been an increase in forest fires, with 123 fires for the year so far. Speaking at the handover of the National Gas Company's reforestation program to the Forestry Division of the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Mr. Dipchansing cautioned the public to refrain from lighting unauthorized backyard fires which run the risk of getting out of hand, and to instead acquire proper permits or face a fine of $20,000 and 6 months imprisonment. He warned that while the division has been able to suppress all forest fires they have encountered since December, it is of his opinion that all of them were man-made, and called on every citizen to do their part to discourage forest fires. 2 Venezuelan women have each been fined $600 after pleading guilty to charges of operating illegal gaming houses. Astrid Rengifo and Jennifer Fernandez were both arrested and charged after each was found operating an illegal gambling machine, with both machines and a total of $15,956 being confiscated by the state. Both women appeared virtually before Magistrate Vandenberg Bailey at the Mayoros Magistrates Court. Charges were laid by PC Smith and Ragbear and prosecuted by Sergeant Ratcher. TNT, alongside Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, the Bahamas, and Jamaica, with the Latin American and Caribbean Network for Human Security, as well as 16 U.S. states, have all joined Mexico in civil action against U.S. gun manufacturers. The Caribbean nations and U.S. states filed separate amicus curiae briefs on Tuesday, the 21st of March, in support of Mexico's appeal in a $10 billion lawsuit. Mexico's lawsuit was dismissed back in September by U.S. Federal Judge F. Dennis Saylor, citing a U.S. law that protects arm manufacturers from being held liable for crimes committed with their products. The court brief of the U.S. states argues the judge's decision was premised on a misreading of that law. Meanwhile, the brief filed by the Caribbean nations claim that unlawful trafficking of American firearms must be curtailed at its source, the U.S. gun industry, arguing that the U.S. District Court could order the defendants to adopt better retail and manufacturing practices to ensure the guns do not make it into the hands of criminals. And internationally, 33 people have been injured after the research vessel Petrel tipped over at an Edinburgh dockyard while the vessel was in dry dock. 21 of the injured were taken to the hospital, while the remaining 12 were treated and discharged at the scene of the incident at Imperial Dock, Leith. NHS officials sent out requests for citizens to not attend accident and emergency at Edinburgh Royal Infirmary unless it was an emergency. The 250-foot, 3,000-ton vessel was placed into long-term moorage in 2020 as a result of operational challenges during the COVID pandemic and has not been used since. It is currently leaning on the side of the dry dock at a 45-degree angle. The cause of the accident is currently believed to be strong winds. Well, that's the news on the hour on WESN. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us.
But if we died with Christ, we have faith that we will also live with him. We know that Christ has been raised from the dead, and he will never die again. Death no longer has power over him. He died to sin once and for all with his death, but he lives for God with his life. Join WESN as we explore the death and resurrection of Christ with He is Risen, a perspective from bearing leaders within the Christian faith. He is Risen, starting March 27th, only on WESN, the content capital.
WESN.
Good morning and welcome to another beautiful day here on AM Prime. We are so happy that you're here with us to start your day the right way and to get you in the groove for whether you're going to work, you're going to be home relaxing, you have errands to run, whatever you are doing. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Remember, we stream live on our website. We're also on Facebook and YouTube as well, so you can check us out there. We have a packed show for you today. Today we're going to be talking about Ramadan. We've started the holy month of Ramadan, the holy month of prayer and fast, and we're going to be talking to an imam about that shortly. We're also talking about recruitment. We just came out of a pandemic, so we want to find out about the job market. What are the trends in the region, not just in Trinidad and Tobago? And we're going to be talking to a recruitment agency about that. And finally, we'll be talking about something really good happening in Grandy. It's a cultural market. On display, so many local entrepreneurs. You want to hear about that. Before we go to our break and get started with our interviews, we have our daily inspiration. And today's daily inspiration is stand firm. And standing firm means standing on what you believe in. So this is you evaluating for yourself as an individual. What are my values? What are the things that I value the most? What morals, what standards do I set? What are the things that I see as important? Understanding yourself, this journey to finding yourself is understanding what you believe in and staying true to that, no matter the situation, no matter who you're around, who you're involved with, where you go. Those are the things that you stand on. Those are the things that you are firm on. And don't sway from those things. If you believe in honesty, then stand firm on that. If you believe in having a good character, then stand firm on that. It doesn't change because of someone or something. It remains the same. Understanding yourself means understanding what you believe in. So today and every day, stand firm. And if you don't have values, you don't have things that you know that you stand on, sit with yourself, journal. We had a wonderful author on a couple of weeks ago who spoke about that and journaling. Sit with yourself and sit down and think, what are the things that I believe in? What are the things that I appreciate in not just myself, but in people? This would be able to determine the friends that you keep, the partner that you have, just how you navigate through life. So we're learning ourselves, we're understanding ourselves, and today we are standing firm. We take a short break. When we come back, we're talking about Ramadan. Stay with us.
Trinidad, come and get blessed at the Good News Fest. Free groceries while stocks last and lots of giveaways like appliances and toys and much more with live music at each venue. 3 days only in South, March 30th at number 4 Recreation Ground, Palo Seco from 4 p.m. In Central, March 31st at Ancient Alley Promenade, Couva, 6 p.m. And in the East, April 1st, Macoya, Savannah, Macoya, 6 p.m. It's the Good News Fest, 3-day family event, March 30th to April 1st. Lots of giveaways after an encouraging word shared.
with society plagued by a host of issues, with debates surrounding our urgent concerns falling short, with questions of our future not always being answered.
The conversation continues. Join me, Kemuel Pascal, as the voice of the youth comes to life. We will confront the controversial topics of today's world to gain answers that are key for a better tomorrow. One and One with me, Kemuel Pascal. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Only on WESN Content Capital.
The best laptops and tablets are at dbesttoys.com. Get a Gateway 14.1-inch Ultra Slim notebook or an HP 14-inch laptop at the best prices in TNT. Get the Fire 7 tablet for $474. You can also shop the latest Amazon Fire Sticks. Call now at 32-DBEST to order or visit us in-store at Force's flagship Mac Bean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Free delivery available throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Cash or links on delivery.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Psyched. Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. only on WESN Content Capital.
Thank you for staying with us. This morning we speak about Ramadan. And joining me on the line is Imam Tolib Sills of the Enterprise Community Masjid. Welcome, Imam.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for being here. So we're talking about Ramadan, and we know we have started the holy months of fast and prayer. Can you tell us, the significance of Ramadan?
Well, Ramadan, good morning to all the viewers. Ramadan is that month where Almighty God would have prescribed fasting for us or for mankind. It is no different to the acceptance by all religions that fasting has some level of importance as it relates to purifying the soul and so on. Mm-hmm. So fasting was prescribed for us just as it was prescribed for those before us. That's the words of the Quran.
Okay.
So Almighty God is saying that fasting is a prescription for us. So we'll learn basically self-preservation, we'll learn how to become better human beings, and so on.
Okay, understood. Now, as you said, with most religions or all religions, there's some level of fasting taking place. Now, we know the body is weak, we're flesh, we're still human. How difficult it is to fast, because the fast is a month, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people misunderstand fasting. Fasting is from dawn to sunset.
Okay.
So it's like a half of the day. So after sunset, you live your life as normal. Okay. You eat, you drink, and so on. So fasting is a mindset first. You know that you are mandated to fast. So therefore, you prepare yourself mentally. Almighty God has made it mandatory on us. So therefore, it is not difficult once we know we have no choice. Knowing we have a choice makes it easy for one to break the fast, mm-hmm. because he knows that it's not compulsory, it's optional. Yes.
Right. And with fasting, it calls for a level of discipline, as you were saying, and sacrifice. You're sacrificing yes. those hours of not eating, not drinking. Everyone within the religion, as a Muslim, fasts, the children and youth included? And if
no.
Okay.
sorry. Fasting is basically for those who are healthy and strong and of a certain age.
Okay.
So children like babies
Right.
don't have to fast. Of course, children under the age of puberty don't have to fast. However, they can practice, they can try it out, but it's not binding on them. Persons who are sick or who are on a journey, they are also allowed to not fast because you are sick and so on. So therefore, fasting is for those who are strong and healthy and can do it and of a particular age.
Okay. And for the younger persons, the ones beyond the age of puberty or within that age of puberty, how do you prepare them for this?
Well, you give them a test run.
Okay.
They may start fasting in the morning and they may stop the fast maybe lunchtime. You know, they may just do half of the day. They may do 3/4 of the day until they themselves would like to challenge themselves to fast the entire day.
Okay.
Because they are observing everyone is fasting and they know that they should fast the entire day. And they like to prove to the parents or prove to their friends
that they can
likewise, they can do it.
Okay. And talk to us about that period of fasting and observation. What is expected in that period as a Muslim?
Okay, so first I want to make the comparison that, the Christians and the Muslims are actually fasting for the first time in a long while, decades, at the same time,
period,
because we are in the Lenten period. We're in the Lenten period. So therefore it means that the Catholics are they know only too well about fasting. However, they fast differently to us. They abstain from certain things.
Right.
We abstain from all food, all drink, all sexual relations and so on. We abstain totally for that window of time. For the greater benefit of this fast in this particular period of time, I mean, it brings families together because we start the fast together on mornings. We wake up in the morning, maybe 4:30 and eat until 10 to 5. That is the window we eat before we start the fast. So families actually are forced to sit together and eat together. Likewise, we break the fast together as a community. We actually go to the mosque and we actually break the fast as soon as sun sets. So as time of sunset, there's food sharing in the mosque and persons will sponsor the food for everyone to break their fast.
Okay.
Because there's a particular position in Islam that the person who provides the food for someone to break their fast, they get the blessings of all those who fast without reducing the blessings of that person themselves. So therefore, it means everybody is rushing to provide meals during the month of Ramadan. And of course, it's like a fight to see who can get which day in the holy month.
Okay, understood. And we know that Eid al-Fitr marks the culmination of the fast. We're coming out of a pandemic, still feeling the consequences of the pandemic. But how would this year differ to the past 2-3 years where we would have been in the pandemic? What sort of preparation goes into that?
Probably I should say the best thing, but a lot of good came out of the pandemic because the world would have learned to operate outside of face-to-face.
Right.
So you find that even in the class, in different masjids, we actually had classes with Zoom.
Okay.
And we never had that before. So you find that coming out of the pandemic now, we see the benefits and convenience of staying at home and have 100% attendance, which we never would have gotten before the pandemic. So now coming out of the pandemic, where we have the option of one of two, where we can actually choose to come to the mosque or stay at home. Some will come to the mosque and some will stay at home, and we have double meetings. Zoom will just carry live the classes and so on. So a lot of benefits came out of the pandemic.
Was it easy to pivot into that? Because that would not have been something that was included before.
It was very difficult.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, persons only got on board maybe 6 to 8 months into the pandemic.
Okay.
Because a lot of persons are not computer savvy. And, sometimes you will be very surprised to know that, some things we take for granted. While we have everyone with a telephone, it does not mean that everyone can use Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, and so on. But after 8 months, when the schools were mandating children to actually have classes online, the religious places likewise saw the learning curve to their benefit, because they had to make sure their children can go online. So they themselves was getting access and seeing the benefits of online. So, of course, it was difficult to start, but now that it has started, it may be difficult to stop.
Okay, understood completely. We thank you so much for joining us this morning. Before you leave, what message would you want the public to know about this time of Ramadan?
Well, I know this time all eyes are on us. We are on the world stage, right? We know that in Saudi Arabia, for example, where the Kaaba exists, if you imagine it, it circles around the Kaaba where persons stand in prayer.
Okay.
So when we stand in prayer in Trinidad, we join a big global circle of persons who are standing in prayer. And because we have different time zones, it means that someone is always in prayer throughout the globe. Because when it's night for us, it's morning for them. Morning for them is night for us. So there's not a single second where persons are not worshiping Almighty God. Okay. So the message for the public basically is to understand that there is only one God that exists, one God that deserves to be worshipped, and it's important for us to pay attention, especially now that we have Muslims in the highlight. Pay attention to what actually happens versus all the rumors and all the things that people would have been saying all the time. I would also like to make a special call to the world, to all those persons who would have gone to Syria and so on, and who would have carried that stigma. We, the Muslim community, is asking the world to bring home these women and children who would have been suffering in these camps, in tents, in these cold weather and so on. Little children and women, we ask them to come back. We ask the governments to bring them back. And this is my closing comments for this interview. And I thank you very much.
Understood. Thank you so much, Imam. We take a short break. When we come back, we have lots more in store. Stay with us.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best birthday gifts are at thebesttoys.com. Shop for the best brands you love at the best prices. Like VTech, Leapfrog, Fisher-Price, Play-Doh, Hot Wheels, Barbie, Cocomelon, LOL, Baby Alive, Crayola. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship MacBean. Shop online now at thebesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 32DBEST to order. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
But if we died with Christ, we have faith that we will also live with him. We know that Christ has been raised from the dead, and he will never die again. Death no longer has power over him. He died to sin once and for all with his death, but he lives for God with his life. Join WESN as we explore the death and resurrection of Christ with He is Risen, a perspective from varying leaders within the Christian faith. He is Risen, starting March 27th, only on WESN, the content capital.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now go to some regional news. Over in St. Kitts and Nevis, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, has announced the interest rate on student loans accessed through the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis will soon be reduced to 5% for the year. ZIZ Online News has more on this report.
Prime Minister Honourable Dr. Terence Drew has announced that the interest rate on student loans accessed through the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis will soon be reduced to 5% per year. He made the announcement while appearing on a radio program on Wednesday.
I am saying today, and I've put it out there to some extent as well, that we will reduce student loans to 5%. And I want to announce, EK, it will not be only on new loans, but it will also be on existing student loans. What does that mean? That if you have a student loan of 9%, when that is kicked in the next 2 weeks, you come in, you go from 9% to 5%, meaning that your monthly payment will be significantly reduced.
The Prime Minister said that this was discussed on Wednesday during a meeting he held with the Financial Secretary, Hilary Hazel, and the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, Siobhan Douglas. Prime Minister Drew stated that the intention of this rate reduction is to ensure that graduates can live and plan for better lives upon the completion of their studies.
Parents send the children away. People save the money to go away. They come back. And because of the high interest rate and the terms of these student loans, they live at home till they're 40. Can't afford to have a mortgage. Can't afford sometimes to get a vehicle. And then you might ask, well, going to study is a punishment? Or it is supposed to give you some sort of advantage? Or you're supposed to see the benefits of it? And that is why we are saying we have to reduce student loans, and we're going to reduce them to 5%. And that is going to help our people.
The date when the reduction will take effect is expected to be announced soon. The Prime Minister hinted that his administration is also looking to introduce another measure that will make accessing student loans even more attractive.
And that's some good news coming out from St. Kitts and Nevis. Now we go to Antigua. The Education Ministry says it is engaged in several initiatives to keep youth constructively engaged and away from antisocial behavior. Education officials have told ABS News about the co-curricular activities through which the government has been seeking to engage school-age youth. ABS TV Antigua has more on this.
All of society appears concerned at the rising spate of violence among school-aged youth. Calls have been made for more programs to be created and facilities built to attract young people's interest. It should be obvious, though, government cannot do it alone. We, however, sat with officials from the Ministry of Education to see what programs are on offer to keep students occupied, allowing less time for them to be engrossed in nefarious activities. Education Officer for the Education Broadcasting Unit, Alicia Knowles, says the unit's programs are an excellent way for students to occupy their time.
The Ministry of Education takes co-curricular activities very seriously. For years, we have been putting on the debate competition. We have been putting on our national spellbound competition, which caters to our primary schools, and the junior science quiz. And all three will be a part of our calendar of events for this academic year.
While the debate, impromptu and spellbound competitions are currently airing, the junior science quiz is set to start within weeks. Knowles encourages students, teachers and administrators to make preparing for these activities a year-long activity.
I want to encourage our schools to not only use these programs as just a way of preparing them, but to have these activities as a part of their daily school structure. I know it is difficult because there's so many things that is happening, and there's so many things that competes for students' time and of course teachers' time. But it is important because it is required for the holistic development of all our young people within this country. And of course we want to keep them actively engaged.
During Education Month, the ministry is also encouraging students to be anti-violence advocates. That's according to Education Officer for Music and the Arts, Carol Edwards-Lewis.
We want to embrace our schools in terms of the anti-violence messaging that's going to take place. We have actually shared information with our schools as they look to prepare. Hopefully on the 29th, they will be engaged in promoting anti-violence messaging.
Meanwhile, Assistant Director of Education, Stacey Main Maskell, is echoing the call for the General Society to help our children. She says it will take a nation to save them.
We want to encourage you to join us on the social platforms so that you can send a message, say, hey, we're here, we're standing with you. Because at the end of the day, if we lose sight of what, if we fail to support what we're doing in education, you know, education shapes the fabric of society. And so if we fail, we will fail miserably. But as a sector, we can't do it alone.
For ABS News, I am Ursula Charles Jr.
That was our regional news. And keeping in the region, but switching gears a bit, we're going into our next interview where we're talking about recruitment. We have the Region C Recruitment and Resources Chairman, Lara Quentrell Thomas, on the line with us via Zoom to talk about Caribbean jobs, trends, and so on. There's an upcoming webinar that you have to be a part of. Good morning, Lara.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having us on your show this morning.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, I'm interested in this conversation because, you know, it's not just Trinidad and Tobago that you're going to be focusing on. You're now focusing on 4 countries within the Caribbean.
Exactly. So we have Regency Recruitment has in the last few months been establishing partnerships with recruitment agencies in other parts of the Caribbean to really explore what are some of the opportunities for Caribbean nationals to move for work, to look for opportunities. You know, there's been a lot of conversation here about I can't find a job in Trinidad. There's no jobs in Trinidad, which I have to say is not exactly true because there are a lot of jobs here. It's just whether it's the right job for you with your skills and your experience. And so we have partnered with Hire BVI in British Virgin Islands and Strategic Recruitment in Suriname as part of the Hummus Group, which also covers Guyana. And so the idea behind this webinar was to really explore what are the opportunities in those 4 countries, so Trinidad, Tobago, Suriname, Guyana, and the British Virgin Islands, all quite different. I mean, Guyana and Trinidad, of course, there are some similarities, but their oil industry, their oil and gas industry is now booming. Suriname, there's a lot of potential there. Their economy seems to be on the verge of a boom. British Virgin Islands, I think, is perhaps even an unknown to many people from Trinidad and Tobago. What might the job opportunities be there? So we thought it would be a really interesting exercise to bring those 4 perspectives together. We're doing this next week, Tuesday. It's 9 a.m. Trinidad time in the morning. It's online to really look at what are the opportunities, what are some of the trends in jobs, where are the sectors that are hiring, what are the skills that are being looked for. We're also hoping to have a couple of employer or government representatives join us. That's still to be confirmed, but to again give more of a sort of a national perspective. But each of the 4 agencies will be presenting their experience. So for example, Regency will be sharing some of the job trends that we've been seeing in Trinidad. Where have the opportunities been? What kind of work is available? Where have we seen declines and increases? And the hope is that it will guide job seekers to then maybe think more broadly about applying for jobs outside Trinidad, or even for persons outside Trinidad to think about coming to work here with us.
Yes, definitely. So you want to unpack a lot of what you said, because you said a lot of interesting stuff just now. So let's go back to the fact that people, you know, may be saying that there aren't jobs. Are there jobs available?
So as a recruiter, we are, of course, an intermediary between employers and potential employees. So we are the ones that employers would come to and say, can you help us find a person with this particular skill set or this experience? And we then go out to the market to look for those people and then screen them for our clients.
Okay.
I would say to you in the last year, really since last spring, let's say sort of April, about a year, the job market has been booming in Trinidad and Tobago. From our point of view, we have seen a real increase in the number of jobs, large-scale volume recruiting in public and private sector. A lot of ministries are now ramping up their recruitment, and you will see it if you go online, if you go on social media. There are many of the ministries are advertising positions at all different levels. So there's a lot of work out there.
Right.
I do know, though, that there are also a lot of unemployed people.
Yes.
And so this is an unusual situation. Normally we have one or the other. So this tends to be kind of a cyclical thing. But for the first time in many years that I can recall, we've got a large number of both jobs and job seekers. And so clearly the jobs that are available do not always match what the job seekers, what skills they have, what experience they have. But I have to say, I mean, you just have to open the newspapers, look at the classifieds, how many jobs there are. Now, they may be contract positions. They may be short-term temporary positions. It may not be your dream job.
Right.
But, you know, I think once you've got a basic education and are willing to work, and I know some people are going to get cross with me for saying this, but I really do feel that there's opportunities here.
Yes, you can start. What you're saying is to start somewhere. Start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Don't wait for, you know, the dream job just because you've got a degree, for example. You know, you're sitting at home waiting for that perfect job. It may not come, and it's certainly not going to come if you're sitting at home. You need to be out in the marketplace. Work is where you find work. Work is where you network with other people. You meet people who, and we know Trinidad, so, you know, your boss's neighbor's girlfriend's barber is looking for somebody, right? That's how you get jobs in this country, as much as, of course, registering with employment agents like ours, you know, going to Caribbean Jobs online, looking at the newspapers. So there's multiple ways you can find opportunities, but the key thing is to be open, I think, to what's available.
Right.
When I did my degree, my first job was making coffee and photocopying. Having a degree does not mean you automatically become a manager.
Understood. We want to get to that in a bit, but I want to find out something that you said. You know, we have jobs, we have persons who are unemployed. Now, we just came out of a pandemic, and cautiously saying that because we're still dealing with the consequences, the effects of, and so on. Has the job, the skills that these employers are looking for, has it changed because of the pandemic, because of the shift that these companies had to make to more digital point of view? Have these skills changed? And maybe that may be the reason why some persons, you know, while there are jobs, they're not getting through with those jobs.
Right, and that's a great question. So the first thing is many of our employers now are asking as a baseline that persons have to be vaccinated. So let's just start with that, right? There are many employers who will not accept unvaccinated applications or applicants. So that's the first line. The second thing is, yes, you're right. There are many jobs now that require an enhanced level of digital skill. You may be working remotely like we are today. You know, I'm joining you remotely. So your ability to adapt to that sort of hybrid work situation is certainly something that we are seeing more of. We're also looking for people with a certain amount of resilience. There's a lot of emotional intelligence being required now to deal with all of the, you know, the pandemic was stressful. It was a very difficult time for many people. So looking at how persons have managed to rebound from that and come back strong. But on the flip side, you know, public service jobs have pretty much gone back to the way they were before the pandemic. Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, stuck in traffic, in-person jobs. There are still jobs, if you're looking at more entry-level restaurants, supermarkets, tourism, hotels and tour operators, those sorts of things that require you to be physically there in person. So I think it's really a combination of both. There are definitely going to be more digital jobs or digital skills required for a certain category of job. But there are also many jobs that are pretty much the same as they were before COVID.
As a job seeker, what would you recommend? You know, how does one prepare themselves, you know, going into looking for a job? You said, you know, just start. How do I prepare myself, my resume, you know, with the hopes of being employed?
Right. So, well, there's a lot of research. Of course, the internet has 10 million different websites and articles and things that you can do your research to, and templates for resumes. There are some great templates. I would encourage you to go to Regency's Facebook page, because we have recorded a number of Facebook Lives over the last few months with guests and just me on my own, talking about lots of different elements of the job search. So how to prepare a resume, how to build your brand. We just did that one yesterday. So go and have a look at some of those videos, because that will help you think a bit more about how to be more strategic in your job search. A resume, of course, is something that you do have to put some care and attention to, make sure it's a document that represents you well. And in an ideal world, you should be tailoring your resume for every job that you apply to, so it's slightly different every time. I know for some people that's not an option, so you really want to make sure that your base resume is really strong, really good. As I say, go and watch some of the videos that share advice with you. We do offer a resume writing service at a fee, so if you really want to invest in having a great resume, you can always reach out to Regency. But there's enough, I think, online to get you started anyway. And, you know, I think really at the end of the day, you have to be confident enough or find the confidence to go out and let people know that you're looking for work. Tap into your networks, whether it's through your church or through your old school network, or maybe there's a community group in your area that would be able to help you find employment. It's important to let people know that you're willing to work, you're willing to do, if you really are willing to do anything just to get yourself out there, earn a bit of money. You know, there was a story during COVID, I don't know if you remember, of a guy who was an engineer, or I think he was an engineer at Point Lisas or something like that, a very technical, well-educated individual. And he lost his job, and so he ended up washing cars in somewhere in Central, if you remember that. That's what you have to do. You have to do what it takes, right, to get yourself up, to get some money coming in, to pay your bills. But in that process, you actually start to build confidence. You may discover skills you didn't know you had. You may end up becoming a fabulous entrepreneur. You know, what is it they say, that necessity is the mother of invention? We saw that during COVID.
Definitely.
So I think that there's a number of approaches to take. But a good starting place would be, of course, to come to our webinar next week, Tuesday, but also go and have a look at Regency's Facebook page. Some of our videos, I think, will give you some really, really useful advice.
Okay, and before we wrap, we would get into where persons can find you on social media. Going back to the webinar that's coming up, it's a really important webinar, I believe. And tell us, without telling us too much before the webinar, about those Caribbean job trends that we're seeing. You know, is job hunting in Trinidad similar to job hunting in any of the other islands that you're going to be talking about? And are the job availability right now, is it the same that we're seeing, or it's different types of jobs, different sectors?
So great question. And of course, we'll reveal hopefully a lot of that next week, Tuesday. But, you know, just to give you a kind of a high level overview. So oil and gas jobs in Guyana, for example, just as one category, those are clearly on the increase because that sector is really booming in Guyana, whereas in Trinidad and Tobago, we're seeing a decline in that sector. So many oil and gas professionals are actually moving across or looking for opportunities, not even just in Guyana, but in Africa and other parts of the world. British Virgin Islands is a different kind of territory altogether, a lot of financial services jobs. They have a lot of tourism jobs, which Trinidad, again, we don't have many tourism jobs. We should do, but we don't. Our financial services sector is pretty robust. There's a lot of recruitment in Trinidad, I would say. Again, just overview, in the government sector, the public service, there's a lot of recruiting going on, different jobs, different levels, which I don't think is happening so much in some of the other territories. And then one last sector is IT jobs. We're seeing a growing demand for IT professionals to work remotely for clients. So, for example, we at Regency's working on a partnership at the moment for IT professionals to provide services to clients in Southern California from the comfort of their home in the Caribbean. So remote work is also something that we're starting to see emerge a bit more, but in very specific skill sets. So, you know, you can't obviously be, I don't know, a hotel receptionist and offer remote services. But if you're a programmer, you work in AI, even financial services, some of those things, there are opportunities to work remotely for firms all over the world.
Okay.
So it's a really interesting blend, and that's why I really would encourage people to come. I know it's not the whole Caribbean. We don't have time to do every single country, but we are looking at 4 key areas that we think, just give us a useful insight into for people in the region to think about the region as their job search, not just their own country.
Tell us about some of the speakers that would be at this webinar.
So in addition to myself, we are expecting to have the CEO of Strategic Recruitment Suriname, Demis John, will be joining us. We're having a representative from Higher BVI, Higher British Virgin Islands. Her name is Rebecca, so she'll be joining us to share the BVI perspective. And then we are hoping to have a representative from the Guyana Employers Confederation. That's still being ironed out. So by tomorrow, we should know for sure who the Guyana representative is going to be. But you're definitely going to get 4 country representatives. And because we're recruiters, we're at the front line of where the jobs are, what employers are looking for, advice for job seekers. So we're really at the pointy end of the stick, as they say. And I think it's going to be very, very useful information for job seekers.
Nice. Before you give us more details on the webinar and where persons can find you on social media, what do you want the participants of this webinar, persons who are going to attend, virtually, what do you want them to take away from this webinar, from this experience, and now use in their individual search and careers?
So that's a great question. There's a couple of key things. One is to start thinking about the region as your potential employment marketplace. So, excuse me, you can apply for jobs if you're a CARICOM citizen, get your skills certificate, and start to think about opportunities outside of your own country. So that's one. Number 2 is to, when you understand the trends, where there's growth, where there are opportunities, where there might be a decline and there's not as much recruitment going on, you can think about your own career path. Maybe you need to go and study a particular new skill to make yourself more appealing to a particular industry. Maybe you need to, go back and finish a qualification that you didn't. So the idea is really twofold. One, to say to you, this is what's out there, this is what the region has to offer. So think about that. But also, do you have the right skills and training for those jobs?
Right.
If not, there might be some gaps that you could look at filling over the next few months. So it's a little hard to forecast, what things are going to be like in the next year, 2 years. As we all know, you try and do that, and then a pandemic hits you, and that's the end of that. But, the best way that we can do this is to look at where there's been growth, share with candidates and job seekers. This is where we see and we predict that there's going to be opportunities. So this is where you should focus your job search. What do they need? Do you have what they need? And if not, where can you get it?
Tell us where on social media we can find you, your website information or any contact information at all.
Splendid. So www.regencytrinidad.com is our website. The registration link should be up there. You can also find Regency Recruitment on Facebook. If you are not seeing the link, although it was posted, and there's our flyer, thank you, there is a QR code. There's also a registration link. You should find them on both of those platforms. If you don't see it for any reason, you could send an email to info, I-N-F-O, at regencytrinidad.com. And wherever you are in the region, it's not only for Trinidadians, of course, and we'd be happy to send you the registration link. So it's a free webinar, no cost to attend, should be about an hour and a half on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Trinidad time. So please register and share this information with anybody you know who's looking for employment or might just be interested in our conversation.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lara. So much good information. We hope that people do check out the webinar, check out the sessions that you have recorded on your Facebook page and, get themselves educated and informed of all that they need to assist them with their job search. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having us.
No problem.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. We take a short break. When we come back, we still have lots more in store. Stay with us.
Trinidad, come and get blessed at the Good News Fest. Free groceries while stocks last and lots of giveaways like appliances and toys and much more with live music at each venue. 3 days only in South, March 30th at number 4 Recreation Ground, Palo Seco from 4 p.m. In Central, March 31st at Ancient Alley Promenade, Couva, 6 p.m. And in the East, April 1st, Macoya, Savannah, Macoya, 6 p.m. It's the Good News Fest, 3-day family event, March 30th to April 1st. Lots of giveaways after an encouraging word shared.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Between 2020 and 2022, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service recorded 4,857 reports of domestic violence.
And there was a general figure that 10% of men may be abusers. When we look at the abusers, we found that some of them, it's like a scripted behavior.
Let's say my sister, I suspect she's in an abusive relationship. What are the signs that I need to look out for? Early signs.
What's Up Doc? Every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Thank you for staying with us in this first part of the show. We spoke about so much already. We talked about Ramadan, and we also talked about recruitment and that job search. So be sure to check out their website, check out their Facebook page, get the information that you need. There are jobs available. Just find out what are the trends, what are the skills that you need to boost your competence as someone who's searching for a job. We're going into our spoken word segment now, and we're still celebrating World Poetry Day. There's the National Poetry Slam that's happening on the weekend, and you know we're continuing to share those poems with you, the local entertainment. We believe in it, and we love to share it here on AM Prime. Our next poet, who's going to be featured today, is Renessa John, and she has a wonderful piece that she performed for the prelims. And guess what? She's in the semi-finals this weekend. Let's watch.
My father complains that I make him out to be a bad person. I never seem to remember all the good he's done, and I wonder if he knew how well he trained me to hold my tongue. I went from lying about where these bruises came from to not defending you. I mean, isn't this what you wanted? For me to stay quiet, silent, still. The way I learned to hold my breath behind closed doors in case the argument ever needed intervention. You trained my ears to know what the heaviness in your footstep meant or the movement of our days meant. And on most days, our household was at war. And we, walking blindly in a minefield, hoping not to step on or trigger you, taught me that the word love was only accompanied by explosions. Your emotions were tick, tick, ticking time bomb, which is to say that you accepting anything meant what came next was probably a bad thing, but forced me to remember. Remember when you took us for ice cream? When he showed up to school meetings, showed up to competition, showed up to graduation, as if all he didn't want was a show, as if he didn't just show up to be senior. I remember the way my heart would stop every time I was around him, how he tried to throw me out on the highway, talked about putting food on the table like I was only hungry for one day. We lived in the same space, and I barely knew his name. But boy, how I hated his face. And at times, it's the only thing I see when I look in the mirror and I feel broken. Because every time I speak, I hear the voice of my mother, and this must be what it feels like to fall in love with a man so versed in playing hide and seek. You learn to count the seconds of how long it would take for him to hide you before you could find yourself. So, excuse me if I don't give him his medals because he had kids. See, he was only a father when people were looking, pretending he was anything more than a glorified sperm donor. Like the only time I was worthy of being his daughter is when I made him look good. He says I dwell in the past too much. Because I shouldn't dwell on old things. Or maybe I haven't gotten over them yet. He doesn't like that every time I write about him, it makes him sound like he ain't-ish. Like he ain't raised his kids. Like he don't love his truth. Seems he don't like the truth. He is tired of never being the superhero in my stories. Then imagine how I feel. How it felt to be told that he'll never be nothing, and when he like that. The thing that I needed him. And I'm not saying he was never wrong, but absence became the only father I knew his presence was anything but a gift. So it makes sense as to why I hated Christmas and birthdays so much. Imagine how it felt to be forced to be mature. Like young skin with an old soul singing praises of hands. Falling on her wasn't a problem. My mother took 4 walls, made them into a home, and you put holes in them. She hung photos over them, hoping all the anger was finally out. Remember, you taught me to bite tongue and swallow words. The screams that came from the hollow auditorium of my chest, they echo in this haunted house of a body, taught me to stay. Shh. Remember how we held funerals in the living room? Buried your shortcomings under the rug so you'd feel man enough. See, this battlefield was already a perfect place to raise children, and we were used to fighting. Got bullets in our skin and moved with shadows in the night. Remember how you warned me about men like you, the ones in sheep's clothing. See, they are meat, but we become the meals on their plates they preyed upon, pretend to love, the ones that trap you, force you to live in haunted houses with them. Don't you remember when you became an angry spirit walking these halls, never to be seen but always wanting to be heard? Remember when you called my name and no one answered? The same way I took nothing and became something just like I was made without you. Remember all the times you forced me to remember. And the funny thing is, he always asks me to remember. And I say, how could I ever forget? That these memories are anything more than imagination. Remember?
Some truly powerful words there from Renessa John with her auditions piece, and she made it to the semi-finals, the National Poetry Slam, which is happening this weekend. We go straight to news. When we come back, we have so much more still in store for you. Thank you for staying with us.
This is your WESN News on the Hour. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Conservator of Forest warns against setting illegal fires. Venezuelan woman fined for illegal gambling. TNT joins fellow Caribbean nations in Mexico's lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers. And internationally, dry dock accident injures 33. Now for the details. The Conservator of Forests, Denny Dipchansing, warns that there have been an increase in forest fires, with 123 fires for the year so far. Speaking at the handover of the National Gas Company's reforestation program to the Forestry Division of the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Mr. Dipchansing cautioned the public to refrain from lighting unauthorized backyard fires which run the risk of getting out of hand and to instead acquire proper permits or face a fine of $20,000 and 6 months imprisonment. He warned that while the division has been able to suppress all forest fires they have encountered since December, it is of his opinion that all of them were man-made and called on every citizen to do their part to discourage forest fires. 2 Venezuelan women have each been fined $600 after pleading guilty to charges of operating illegal gaming houses. Astrid Rengifo and Jennifer Fernandez were both arrested and charged after each was found operating an illegal gambling machine, with both machines and a total of $15,956 being confiscated by the state. Both women appeared virtually before Magistrate Vandenberg Bailey at the Mayoros Magistrates Court. Charges were laid by PC Smith and Ragbear and prosecuted by Sergeant Ratcher. TNT, alongside Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, the Bahamas, and Jamaica, with the Latin American and Caribbean Network for Human Security, as well as 16 U.S. states, have all joined Mexico in civil action against U.S. gun manufacturers. The Caribbean nations and U.S. states filed separate amicus curiae briefs on Tuesday, the 21st of March, in support of Mexico's appeal in a $10 billion lawsuit. Mexico's lawsuit was dismissed back in September by U.S. Federal Judge F. Dennis Saylor, citing a U.S. law that protects our manufacturers from being held liable for crimes committed with their products. The court brief of the U.S. states argues the judge's decision was premised on a misreading of that law. Meanwhile, the brief filed by the Caribbean nations claim that unlawful trafficking of American firearms must be curtailed at its source, the U.S. gun industry, arguing that the U.S. District Court could order the defendants to adopt better retail and manufacturing practices to ensure the guns do not make it into the hands of criminals. And internationally, 33 people have been injured after the research vessel Petrel tipped over at an Edinburgh dockyard while the vessel was in dry dock. 21 of the injured were taken to the hospital, while the remaining 12 were treated and discharged at the scene of the incident at Imperial Dock, Leith. NHS officials sent out requests for citizens to not attend accident and emergency at Edinburgh Royal Infirmary unless it was an emergency. The 250-foot, 3,000-ton vessel was placed into long-term moorage in 2020 as a result of operational challenges during the COVID pandemic and has not been used since. It is currently leaning on the side of the dry dock at a 45-degree angle. The cause of the accident is currently believed to be strong winds. Well, that's the news on the hour on WESN. My name is Sean Michael Small. Thanks for joining us.
Sacrifice of Praise, the Rejoicing Gospel Concert, Saturday, March 25th. All roads lead to Naparima Bowl, San Fernando. Michelle Sylvester, Jaron Nurse, Bikini James, Tony Gonzalez, Sean Daniel, Arnold Phillip, Joanne Foster, Positive, Blessed Messenger, and many more. Rejoice and offer your sacrifice of praise. March 25th, Naparima Bowl, San Fernando. Tickets $250. Available at Allison's Bridal Boutique, San Fernando, and WESN, Gattaca Street, Port of Spain, or call 223-7911.
Thank you for staying with us. Our next interview, we're going to be talking about a special cultural market in Grandy. Via Zoom, joining me is Chanel Canal, and she is the director of Village Wallowa. Welcome, Chanel.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for being here. So I'm excited to talk about this cultural experience in Grandy. Now, I know it's not the first one, but it's an exciting one this time, right?
Absolutely. So this is our third year in doing Village Wallowa. I don't know how much you or any of the viewers know about the cultural market, but it's the premier cultural vendors market in the Far East because it takes place in Sangre Grande at Tantra Terraces, which is on the Eastern Main Road. And what we've managed to curate is a wonderful day of fun, food, shopping, and cultural activity, the perfect blend for the entire family. It starts from 10 a.m., finishes at 6 p.m., and it's on the Spiritual Baptist Liberation holiday. It's a holiday, so you have no excuse to come out.
Yes.
And the best part is entrance is free, free, free.
Nice. So we're gonna go into a bit about the backstory of the creation of this, and then talk more about like the activities that will be taking place and so on. So how was this concept created, and why did you think it was necessary, you and the team?
During the lockdown, the COVID lockdown, I was part of the Miss World delegation.
Okay.
And being from Sangre Grande, I was looking at the different things that we had happening in our community. And one of my really good friends, Kirsten Orang, we started doing some interesting videos and different cultural projects up at Tantra Terraces. And we thought that the space was just so inviting. When you walk into this space, you feel relaxed, you feel at home, you feel at peace. And so we reached out to the owner of the space, which is Candace Katwaru, and we sat together and we started to discuss different ideas of what we can do for this space, and namely for the community of Sangre Grande, because we have a lot of interesting young entrepreneurs, small businesses within the area, within that eastern region of Trinidad and Tobago, that we really wanted to give them an opportunity to showcase what they have, their products, but also give the community something to start to look forward to on an annual basis, maybe more than once a year.
Right.
So that's where the idea was born. And the name Wallowa stems from the indigenous term stop here or rest here, which is what we felt really encapsulated this space.
Right. Now we know this space, looking at the photos of this space, it seems really calming. So it's really a nice place to just rest and take the family and so on.
Of course.
Yeah. Locally, we are seeing that a lot of markets are happening throughout the year. Tell us about the importance of shopping local, and how has that experience been for you in creating this space and now interacting with these entrepreneurs?
Sure. I think, I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but COVID-19 has made us kind of really look within ourselves, and look at the different local products that we have happening. And one of the things that I was very excited about was just meeting the young entrepreneurs that were creating clothing. It was craft makers, furniture, different foods, and just seeing the way that they used our local products and blended into such a creative way and packaged it really well.
Yes.
I have a newfound love for local entrepreneurship. I think we are all talented people here in Trinidad and Tobago, our cultural products versus our physical products. There's so much that we have to offer the region and the world. And it's nice to see the faces on these entrepreneurs once they start to garner that kind of support. Of course, it goes without speaking that we have to start looking within ourselves in order to benefit our economy, our local economy especially. We have to start investing a little more in our local products in order to see that economic change, especially within the millennial and the Gen Z generations.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you kind of answered the question, but I'll still ask, seeing these entrepreneurs, seeing what they have done, how has that impacted your view of entrepreneurship as you are now coming into being an entrepreneur yourself with the creation of this market?
It's excited me. Honestly, what we're trying to garner, and this year our theme for Village Wallowa is creativity, community, and connectivity.
Okay.
Because Village Wallowa is not the only space that I operate in as a director, putting on vendors markets, but just understanding that we have a community of persons that want to move forward with becoming better business persons, better entrepreneurs, not just for the local market, but like I explained before, the regional and the international market. Like, how can we get that reach? And it's very exciting to see lots of other companies coming on board now who are investing in these local entrepreneurs, like Nudge Caribbean. They feature products from different artisanal vendors from across the Caribbean, and they put it into Massy stores and different grocery chains or supermarket chains.
Right.
And having these sponsors come on board as well, like Life in Trinidad and Tobago, Digicel, they're seeing the value in these entrepreneurs, and it's very inspiring that we can, something so small and something so sacred to us is now growing into something bigger, and seeing these companies' interest in it, it's actually very inspiring to me.
Okay. And we noticed too with the market, so you have entrepreneurs, people, artisans, selling their crafts, selling clothes, selling books. So it's a wide range of products that are being displayed. But then you also have activities. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the patrons' experience. When they come to this market, what do they experience?
They can expect music, they can expect dancing, they can expect singing. What we really try to cultivate is that the local entertainment sphere as well. We have people from all walks of life who have very interesting entertainment products. So we wanted to kind of splice. We try different things every year. I don't want to give away too
Understood.
much, but we do have a mixture of music, dancing. The stilt walking is one of my personal favorites. I don't know if anyone ever thought, okay, I don't know what it's like to be a Moko Jambi, but I want to try that out.
Right.
We have the tutors there. You can come, pay a small fee, and they train you in stilt walking right there at Village Wallowa. This year we're introducing kite flying as well because we know it's close to the Easter, and I don't know if anyone will bring out their families to try some kite flying, which is really nice. We have little games like the mini golf. We have garden games. Like giant Jenga, lots of things for everyone of all ages. You can expect a lot for the entire family.
Nice. Now, we know the spots for this particular event is filled, but if vendors, entrepreneurs want to become a part of that network with Village Wallowa, how do they reach you?
They can reach out to us via Instagram or Facebook. You can send us a DM if you're interested, or you can email us at villagewallowa@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, villagewallowa.com, which would lead you to a form where you can sign up to be a part of our mailing list for all future events. Apart from the market, we also do business mixers, which is where you and like-minded entrepreneurs can come, meet for the day. We have a panel of really expert guests that will come in and speak to you about how to grow your business in all different aspects. And we really want to start introducing investors into that mix as well. So just hop on Instagram, Facebook, Village Wallowa, follow us. You can email us or visit our website to join our mailing list.
Okay. And one more question before we wrap. You know, as a creative yourself, because you're doing so many other things as well too, you know, how important it is for you to now be able to give the same opportunities that you would have gotten, or sometimes opportunities that you would have worked towards, you know, and created for yourself now to others coming up as well?
I think it's not necessarily something that I went into it thinking. I think my impulse was just, if I see a space for something that I think is missing or lacking in the society or the community, I want to fill that space. And by doing that, I'm now, like you said, I'm creating opportunities that may not have existed for persons like me within that space a few years ago, which is a really nice full circle thing happening there. But it wasn't an intention, but what I would say though to that question is if there are any creatives out there, if you're a person that you have passion over something that you think is missing in your community, there are many people out there just like you, just have conversations. That's how Village Wallowa started for us. We had a conversation with like-minded people and we got it off the ground, off the bat. So don't be afraid to just fill the spaces.
Nice. Give us those details again, the dates, the times, parking arrangements, and where persons can find you online.
Sure. So for anyone interested in joining our Village Wallowa network as a vendor or a young entrepreneur or business, small entrepreneur, you can visit us at Village Wallowa on Instagram or Facebook. You can send us a DM if you're interested, or you can email us at villagewallowa@gmail.com, or visit our website, villagewallowa.com, which will take you to a nice little sign-up page where you can join our mailing list for future information on our markets and our business mixers. If you're a patron, whether you're returning or brand new and you want to take your family up to Sangre Grande for a lovely day on March the 30th, it's a spiritual Baptist liberation holiday. The market starts promptly at 10 a.m. and we finish at 6 p.m. Doors are open to everyone. This is a very family-oriented day, like I said before, so anyone of all ages are welcome. Entry is free. We have parking attendants. We have lots of signage. It's located on the Eastern Main Road. You can just type in Tantra Terraces into your Waze or to your Google Maps, and it will take you right there. Parking attendants are there to assist you with parking. So just come and have a lovely day with us. We look forward to seeing everyone.
Nice. Thank you so much, Chanel, and to the entire team at Village Wallowa. Sounds like a really good initiative, and we hope for a great turnout for you.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, we take a short break. When we come back, we still have some more art and culture inside before we wrap up today's show.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
The best laptops and tablets are at dbesttoys.com. Get a Gateway 14.1-inch Ultra Slim notebook or an HP 14-inch laptop at the best prices in TNT. Get the Fire 7 tablet for $474. You can also shop the latest Amazon Fire Sticks. Call now at 32-DBEST to order or visit us in-store at Forces flagship Mac Bean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Free delivery available throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Cash or links on delivery.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios. But they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokaram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Is it politics? What is it? Is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing on it.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Paul?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, before we get into our music videos, as we always do, promoting local culture and arts, on local musicians, our local artists, and so on, I should tell you, because we had World Poetry Day earlier this week, I have challenged the team behind the scenes to write poems. And I know I'm going to be hearing them in my ear shortly. So tomorrow, please God, I should be sharing a lot of poems with you, written by the team. I'm excited about that. I said I'll make an announcement because now the pressure is on for them to write pieces, right? So we're going into our arts and culture video, and this video is taken from the Lightbox series. It is their sight and sound. It's an instrumental performance with an original composition paired with an artist who's going to be painting or drawing something. This particular video features Adrian and AJ Rogers with Things. Let's watch. Such a beautiful arrangement there and a wonderful piece. We are so excited to always bring, to the forefront and highlight these talented artists and artistes within Trinidad and Tobago. All these videos you see are local persons doing amazing things. Moving on to another person who is doing amazing things is Isaac. He has a video with the Lightbox TT series, and it's a rendition of one of his songs. Let's watch.
IK. Lord, I thank you for your mercy and saving my life. Cause on more than 3 occasions, I could have died. Most of all, forgive me, Lord, I apologize. I surrender, give you all my heart, my soul, my mind. See, there will come a time where we will have to fight. Man, standing firm, cause in my darkness I'll be on my light. Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. You're my dearest friend, Lord. And if I don't give you praise, the birds and bees will shout, yeah. Yahweh, you preserve my days. This is why I cry out. And if I don't give you praise, the birds and bees will. Yahweh, you preserve my days. This is why I cry out. Undeserving, that's what I am. Yet still you leave the 99 to chase after one. Work on me like 9 to 5 till the hour's done. Without you in my life, don't think I could go on. Jehovah Jireh, Nisi Shalom. Yes, you are the King. When I'm in need, you I rely on. Your love is sovereign. Oh, if I don't give you praise, yeah, Yahweh, you preserve my days. This is why I cry out. And if I don't give you praise, the birds and bees will. Yahweh, you preserve my days. This is why I cry out. Check this. Undeserving, that's what I am. Yet still you leave the 99 to chase after one. Work on me like 9 to 5 till the hour's done. Without you in my life, don't think I could go on. Jehovah Jireh, Nisi Shalom. Yes, you are the King. When I'm in need, you I rely on. Your love is sovereign. If I don't give you praise, the rocks and trees will. Yahweh, you preserve my days. This is why I cry out. If I don't give you praise, mad.
And that's it. We come to the end of today's show. We spoke about so much. We featured some videos of some awesome local talents. We spoke about Ramadan, about recruitment, and also the wonderful cultural market that's happening in Grandi. We have another exciting show for you on Friday. Before we wrap, I want to remind you about our daily inspiration. And it says to stand firm. And you know that saying about, stand for something or you'll fall for everything. Stand firm in what you believe in, and understanding yourself, you ask yourself, what do I believe in? What are the values, what are the standards that I've set for myself and for those that I allow into my circle? Our energy is important and we have to protect that energy at all costs. It means that you sift through what is allowed in your circle, what's allowed in your space, what's allowed to get to you. What are the standards? What are the values that you have? What are the morals that you believe in? Those are the things that you allow, and don't change that for anybody or anything. Those are the things that matter to you. Those are the things, whether it's honesty, it's loyalty, it's trust, those values. Sit with yourself, journal. Ask yourself those questions, write down the answers. This is really about you, yourself, that conversation you have with your inner self. And on the show, we are all about having those deep conversations. So speak to yourself, find out what you believe in. And when you know what you believe in, stand firm on that. Don't change that for anyone or anything. We do hope that you have a great day. We thank you for staying with us. Join us again tomorrow, please God. All the best. And if you want to get on to us for an interview or even to sending a poem that we could probably read tomorrow on the show, you can email us at amprimewesn@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp or call us at 868-620-1331. Have a great day. Bye-bye.